very they're very challenging, not to say threatening, and so for people to be able to dismiss the whole thing as worthless just because of a few flaws here and there, and because of
Yeah,
Castaneda's
yeah. I'll tell you a little tale on that just for 1 second, right? There was somebody I was really close to a long time ago, and I said, "Oh, yeah, I've come across this guy called Castaneda, and there's these 6 books in particular, and forget the first one, but start with A Separate Reality, and Journey to Ixtlan, Tales of Power, all the rest of it. Off you go, and honestly, it's really packed with wonderful, wonderful stuff. And this guy Don Juan will really materialize in your dreams. He's a real presence.
mm,
And she went away and she read them and she said, yeah, it's really, really good. Anyway, she lived in a different city and we just kind of contacted each other remotely. This was even before the days of the internet.
hmm
That's how long ago it was. And one day in the post, a book arrived, and I've got it in a box downstairs somewhere. And it was a book that was written by somebody who basically rubbished everything that Castaneda said and proved everything wrong and questioned the whole Sonoran sort of geography and questioned, the linguistic capabilities of a Yaqui sorcerer and all the rest of it.
Was it the power?
And it.
Was it the power and the allegories?
Go on.
Does was the book I
I
read?
can't remember. I'll dig it out. I'll drop you an email and let you know. But it was real sort of disgraceful, rubbish waste of time.
Right.
Even though half of what the guy said, not that I really read it in any detail, even though I don't have a problem with the principle that Castaneda was kind of bullshitting and making things up to some extent.
hmm
But the imaginal world for me is, the deeper you go, it's lines and its boundaries between the consensus expression are quite faint, shall we say, or vague. As you said, I mean, you put your finger on it. The value of the words and the expressions and the information in there is absolute dynamite still.
hmm
And if you could only take a limited few books with you on the desert island or whatever, those would be the first in the box, definitely. And
hmm
I don't give a toss who he was, where he was, what he did, what he didn't do. The books are stunningly amazing, and if the guy was around, you'd be seriously wondering kind of what human being you were going to bump into who's managed to document all that kind of stuff. It surpasses pretty much every Zen and Gnostic text I've ever read of, some pretty acknowledged masters and sorcerers and stuff. It's way beyond that, so
Well,
it really is worth investigating.
yeah, yeah, I second everything you've said, and it's fascinating in itself how easy it was for people to go along with to reject that and to accept that it had been discredited and it wasn't true, therefore, or he made this and that up, therefore we don't have to look at it anymore. We could forget all about it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, David Icke's Reptilians is a wanker. Let's not talk about him. It's the same sort of flagging, isn't it, really, which is seems to dog these people sometimes. Not that Icke's in the same class, but David Icke's got some tremendous stuff out there. But if you ever see him caught up in the mainstream vortex, as soon as they say David Icke, they say reptile, or they say believes the world is controlled by Zionist shapeshifters or whatever. So it's a
mhm.
shame that because he could do without that, really.
Well, yeah, but I wonder if it isn't a way, whether it's conscious on his part as a strategy, but it's certainly a way to keep away people who are just too literal minded, who just aren't willing to drop and let go of their idea of the way things are and just entertain impossible possibilities. I mean, do we know that Ike
Yeah, yeah, you're
actually
probably
believes
right.
in reptilians? It's I think he probably does, and I think that's a drawback. Is if you take these things too literally, you expand your consensus, but it's still basically you're still you're dragging imaginal realities into the framework of the consensus, and so then they become distorted.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, the idea is to allow that to to explode your idea of reality entirely. I would say without losing your marbles, which is very tricky, very tricky. So do you know how much time's
That's another good book title. Exploding reality without losing your marbles. That's your next book, mate.
I was just going to ask how much time's gone by because I have a
Two
feeling that
hours.
2 hours have already gone by, and I was actually just getting started on a whole new subject, so I probably shouldn't do that, right? I'm gonna have to let you go and have your supper or something,
Yeah,
whatever's
no, that's
going on.
cool. Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, I know.
so, shall we just round up then with some free association? You
Yeah, why
ready?
not?
Okay. Well, so before we do that, I just want to thank you for coming on Stormy Weather.
Yeah, it's
And
been a pleasure. It's been really good. I've enjoyed it.
yeah, it's been a real pleasure talking to you, and I hope we can just continue this conversation because it doesn't seem to be any foreseeable end to it. Uh, so yeah, maybe we can make this a regular thing if you're up for it.
Yeah, definitely. Why not?
Okay, you ready?
Go ahead.
Death is just another word for
Sleep.
I'm not mad, I'm just
Perky.
humanity is here to
Explore free will.
the best thing about sex is
Um, the ego death afterwards.
not during.
Not for me.
So along with the cigarette there's the ego.
Yeah, that's the best bit, mate, I tell you.
Difference between children and grown-ups is
Perception of time.
nature of magic is
Hacking the rules.
point of religion,
Control.
purpose of politics.
Control.
What are world wars good for?
Yeah, you don't want me to quote Frankie Goes to Hollywood lyrics, do you?
No.
They illustrate the madness of separation.
The greatest threat to man's survival
Amnesia.
and humanity's greatest flaw,
The ego.
humanity's greatest strength.
Creativity.
And what makes the fit to survive?
Impeccability.
The nature of God is.
Wholeness.
Okay, you can go.
Those are
Well,
good questions, gee whiz.